As one of the greatest and ever-growing nations on our planet, we reach out to show and demonstrate our accomplishments and triumphs throughout history. Americans are known to push their own boundaries, not only physically, but economically, politically, and socially. A constant across our nation's rich history that defines what it means to be an American. Politically speaking, our 35th president, John F. Kennedy, exemplifies pushing the boundaries to all Americans. In his inaugural speech, he says, "And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." This speech not only being inspirational, it also addresses what it is to be an American, what it is to live in this land of opportunity. John F. Kennedy and almost every single president wants us to grab this opportunity and exemplify the country. Exemplify every single boundary, socially, politically, and economically. This speech is also a representation of American pride. This pride that helps us push and achieve the American dream. Having leaders like Kennedy will inspire the next generations of Americans to push their limits and make the United States an international power.
Now we move on to the non-artistic artifact that best exemplifies the United States and its ideals. Now, with over 300 years of history, it seems quite difficult to pin down one object of any size that kind of exemplifies us fully. But out of all the tough decisions, the best choice is clearly the Apollo 11 spacecraft. Now this was actually the first spaceship out of all of human history to ever land on the moon with people on it and have the people get out of the spacecraft and walk on the moon. In fact, it led to the US winning the space race, which was basically a competition to be the first to make it to the moon. What makes it exemplify so much of America's ideals is the fact that it shows America's ingenuity and our commitment to push the boundaries and envelope. Basically, it shows that as Americans, we have always, throughout history, pushed forward, trying to be the best we can be, whether on Earth or in this case, up there. Further, the Apollo 11 mission helps show Americans' boldness, as in the risks that they took to get up there. Because in fact, it was hard to tell. We didn't really know all the consequences and if they would even be able to make it back. But this risk that we took helped show just America's ideals and how we're willing to do what it takes to get what we think is right done.
Now for our artistic cultural artifact, we chose to present to you the movie Forrest Gump. Besides being an Oscar winner movie and being a great entertainment, you will cry and laugh in a matter of minutes, it also describes some specific US history and gives off a beautiful representation that anyone can accomplish anything. Other words, the American dream. This universal significance show that the United States is the land of opportunity. For the protagonist had a mental disadvantage. He did not let anything, even though if he didn't notice, stop him, and he was able to outshine everyone that ever doubted him. Also, you don't only see that in the main character. You see that in side characters such as Jenny, Lieutenant Dan, Bubba have another arc that either it was completed their dream through themselves or through someone else.
With a population pool of over 600 million people, it's hard to choose a single one person to exemplify all of America's beliefs and ideals. However, one man does rise to the occasion, that being Walt Disney. Now, Walt Disney came from a small countryside town in the state of Missouri. In fact, his family was extremely impoverished and he lacked the money to do anything real in life. However, Walt fought for his dreams. He started doing small jobs until he had enough money to start his own film studio, which he then used the money to build his own theme parks. These theme parks grew to become what became known as a quintessential American ideals. In fact, the Walt Disney Corporation is known as simply an American corporation. But how is this relevant? Well, Walt simply exemplifies the American dream. Now you may be wondering, what is the American dream I just mentioned? Well, in fact, simply put, the American dream is the belief that through hard work and labor, one can easily reach their dreams within America, whether that dream be a house in the countryside, an apartment in the city, or even a multi-million-dollar corporation in the case of Walt. The American dream is a cornerstone of American beliefs, as it helped build America to the nation it is today, as many immigrants from other countries emigrated here to become citizens and reach their goals of maybe simply just a nice house. But Walt Disney exemplifies the American dream as he fought for what he got, and paired with his patriotism, he's a key example of what it means to be an American.
We chose one event that exemplifies what is the best about the United States. and we chose the Berlin Airlift. Now, a little history before explaining the Berlin Airlift. After World War II, all these European countries that were they needed help in resources and food and etc. And the United States were providing this, and they were providing this so that these countries don't fall into communism. Especially since the Soviet Union wanted these countries to fall into communism. Now, the capital of Germany, Berlin, they divided this in four. They divided it between Britain, France, United States, and Soviet Union, which kind of looked like half and half. And out of nowhere, Soviet Union decided to blockade Berlin from the rest of the world. So pretty much they were gonna starve to death. Now, Truman had a decision in his hand. Will he attack and create World War III? Will he just let it slide and say, oh, Soviet Union, you can just have it? But Americans learned that you should never give in to a dictator, seen in previous history. So Truman creates the Berlin Airlift. Now, the Berlin Airlift was a system where pretty much all the sources and the needs and the foods was pretty much flown in to the Allied side of Berlin. Now, this continued for almost a year till Stalin said it's enough and it's not doing anything, which was a win for democracy, which is what I want to point out, that it's one of the best things of the United States. Now, a little history far back from the United States. Democracy is the main driver of the path of the United States. Everything is chosen to maintain democracy. So for the United States to grab its superpower position in the world and do its best to contain democracy and keep spreading democracy in the world shows how incredible the United States is. But also, the Berlin Airlift is a great example of how the United States, as a superpower, always helps and is known as the police and is known as the big United States because it helps out all these other countries. Again, we chose this event because, again, it's a great example of pushing your boundaries. Truman pushed their boundary to find a way to contain democracy. We pushed our boundaries to help these people. And again, it's not going to be the first time or the last time in United States history. As our short time together comes to a close, we from America would just like to thank you for listening and hope you embrace the same ideas we have come to know: democracy, justice, boldness, and a will to push the boundaries. And with this, I say goodbye and thank you.